Howdy, howdy, folks. Once again, this is Donnie coming back at you with some Linux security in the news. And yes, I know I've been away for a while too long. Trust me, that wasn't planned. I apologize for that. Anyway, we're here at the Inquirer.net, and we're looking at about how 1.5 million web pages were defaced that were built upon the Wordpress content management system platform. And blogs are at risk of hacks and remote code execution attacks. Okay, so first off, what is WordPress? Well, WordPress is a content management system that's run primarily on the LAMP platform, which means Linux, Apache Web Server, either MySQL or MariaDB as its database backend, which is what holds the actual content, and the PHP scripting language. Now, it can also run on other platforms. It can run on a Windows server even, but it's primarily on Linux servers. So WordPress has had an interesting history. We'll get to that in just a moment. But for right now, what we got going is this article here from the Inquirer. Oh, crappy day. A hacking spree has seen tons and tons of WordPress blogs defaced and probably caused a lot of people to try and remember their passwords so that they can log in and check whether they have been affected. Security firm Sucuri has raised the panic flag over the exploit twice now. In its latest blurt, it says that a remote code execution feature has been added to the package. Remote code execution is evil stuff, let me tell you. It means that somebody can basically get into that server through the WordPress platform, through the WordPress site, and basically do whatever they want to do on that server. We are starting to see remote command execution attempts trying to exploit the latest WordPress REST API vulnerability, said the firm's Daniel Sid. Okay, so this is one of the problems that these developers have. Now, let me just be clear. The WordPress developers are serious about security. We'll see that in a moment as well. But it's not just their stuff that they have to worry about. It's so much of this third-party stuff that might have vulnerabilities that will affect their stuff. So in this case, their problem is in this REST API, which they don't really have control over. This is controlled by a whole nother set of developers. So they not only have to worry about their own code, whether or not it's secure, they have to worry about whether or not the third-party items, the third-party APIs or programming language, whatever else, they got to worry about whether that stuff is secure as well. So these RCE attempts started today after a few days of attackers, mostly defacers, rushing to vandalize as many pages as they could. The RCE attempts we are seeing in the wild do not affect every WordPress site, only the ones using plugins that allow for PHP execution from within posts and pages. So, again, another problem. It's not the WordPress itself that's the problem. It is these vulnerable plugins. And so the WordPress developers are now pretty much at the mercy of the creators of these plugins. So this should narrow things down. According to a report on the BBC, there are millions of pages that have already been defaced thanks to the vulnerability. The report adds that WordPress released the fix the first time that security came knocking, and indeed it did. And on January 20th, Sucuri alerted us to a vulnerability discovered by one of their security researchers. The security team began assessing the issue and working on solutions. While a first iteration of a fix was created early on, the team felt that more testing was needed. It said on Thursday, January 26th, we released WordPress 4.7.2 to the world. We'd like to thank Sucuri for their responsible disclosure, as well as working with us to delay disclosure until we are confident that as many WordPress sites were updated to 4.7.2 as possible. So, okay, so there was apparently something that the WordPress people were able to do about this. They just needed to fix their code to prevent these malevolent plugins from being able to execute from within posts and pages. So security has what looks like a quick and efficient fix, that is to take the plugins and unplug them. First of all, if you have any of these plugins, we recommend disabling them. We believe that PHP code should run within a plugin or a theme. It should not be run directly from the post. Second, it seems attackers are starting to think in ways to monetize this vulnerability. Defacements don't offer economic returns, so that will likely die soon. What will remain are attempts to execute commands, as it gives the attackers full control of a site and offers multiple ways to monetize and spam SEO, affiliate link, ad injections, etc., etc. So lots of stuff here that the bad guys can do by using these remote code execution attacks. We are starting to see them being attempted a few times on a few sites, and that will likely be the direction this vulnerability will be misused in the coming days, weeks, and possibly months. And they end up saying, unplug, people, unplug. So yeah, definitely a problem. And as I said, it's been an interesting history with WordPress and security. They've had security problems since almost the beginning, and you just use your favorite search engine to search for hack WordPress, just the words hack WordPress, and you're going to get lots of sites, lots of references on how to hack WordPress. Then we have this site at WPMUDV, WPMUDev, I guess, a history of WordPress security exploits and what they mean for your site. And I'm not going to read this entire article, but you can see it if you read it for yourself that, yeah, it's been a long history of WordPress vulnerabilities. So, as one of the world's most high-profile open-source software projects, WordPress has been a natural target for ongoing security exploits ever since it arrived on the scene. And so with the user base continuing to grow and its position as the world's most popular content management system solidifying, it's a safe bet that this won't be changing anytime soon. The emergence, and this, by the way, is from last year. This article is from, what was it? I think June 2016. So it's a few months old, but the emergence of significant security vulnerabilities this year have yet again reminded us of the need for ongoing vigilance and the importance of keeping sites updated. And this is going to be a major theme that you will see with WordPress or with anything else. If you want to be secure, you got to keep your stuff updated. So in this article, we'll cover a selection of the major WordPress security exploits to date and what they meant for both users like you and the future of WordPress. And before we delve into the past, though, let's fill in the blanks on the subject of WordPress security in general. So, some background on WordPress security. If you go to their site, it does give you an indication of how high of a priority that the WordPress people place upon security and trying to get it right. And if you go to the About page of WordPress.org, the security section is prominently displayed. They also offer a WordPress security white paper, and they say it's worth taking a few minutes to go through it. And it gives basically a good explanation of the project's approach to security, including, of course, the role of plugins and themes, which is the problem with this current vulnerability. And as Mullenweg never fails to point out, the single biggest security improvement you can make to your site is making sure it is constantly up to date. Ongoing attacks are unfortunately a fact of online life, but the community has an excellent track record of addressing them quickly and transparently. And the rest of the article, which I'm not including here, just covers an overview of the security problems that the WordPress platform has had ever since its beginning. So I'll include the link to this article in the description below, and you can read the article at your leisure. So this begs the question, what do you do besides keeping your site up to date? What do you do to make sure that you don't have vulnerabilities or to find vulnerabilities? Well, there are several different scanning tools which we can use, and we can take a look at them right now. There's a variety of different website vulnerability scanners that you can use depending upon your tastes and upon what platform you're using. Now, even though, yeah, this is a Linux site and I'm a Linux guy, I do recognize that a lot of you out there are stuck using that off-brand operating system that's called Windows, and that's okay. I'm not judging you, but if you are using Windows platform, there is a really good vulnerability scanner for Windows that you can install on your Windows machine, and this is called Netsparker. It's a commercial product, but there is a free open source version available to you, and it works really nicely. It produces some really nice reports, and it will look for the different vulnerabilities that you have, whether it be cross-site scripting, SQL injection, and I mean, those are the two lists here, but it actually will scan for more than just those two types of vulnerabilities. And so you can come over here and you can see we can download the demo, and it tells you all about it, some of their customers. Another thing that you can do, regardless of what desktop platform you run, whether it be Windows, Mac, or Linux, is to create a virtual machine with some sort of a security type of Linux distro. So you can download any one of these for free. They're all free open source. And my favorite one is Parrot, because there's Kali Linux, and that's the one that gets the most attention. And yeah, it's great for professionals, but the Parrot Linux is the best one for a more casual user because the security is set up better. With the Kali Linux, you have to be logged in as a root user to do pretty much anything. With Parrot, though, you can actually be logged in as a normal user and still make the stuff work. But the Parrot Linux has a variety of tools for penetration testers, but you don't have to be a penetration tester to use it. You can also be a developer or a customer of a developer who just wants to test out what the developer has done. And there are just some really easy to use scanning tools in it that will help you do that job. One of the utilities in Parrot Linux, well, really in all the security type distros, that we can use to scan our WordPress site for vulnerabilities is called WPScan. Now, to demonstrate this, I am logged in here to a broken WordPress site that's part of the OWASP Broken Web Apps virtual machine. So you can get this virtual machine as well. You can download it and you can set it up and use it to practice on. And this is a production version of WordPress. It's not anything that's deliberately broken. It's a production version of WordPress, but it's very old. It's several years old, so it's got a lot of vulnerabilities in it. And we can see that by coming over here to our terminal, and we can do sudo wpscan like so, and enter a password. And this will give us a list of the different options that we can use. And you can see there it's very, very easy. And then when we go to scan the site, we can just type in the URL with the -u option switch. And since this is a virtual machine, I'm just going to type in the IP address of the virtual machine followed by WordPress just to scan the WordPress portion of that virtual machine. And without any other option switches, it's just going to do a generalized scan. It's going to give you information about the WordPress installation. It's going to give you information about the version of WordPress, for example. And here we're seeing a list of some of the vulnerabilities. When you see a red exclamation point, that's a vulnerability. So you see we have several different vulnerabilities here just on this first page. Click, go down another page. Yeah, another one there. And that's pretty much it. And then we can also add in some other option switches, we can, for example, do a -E followed by VP. That will give us a list of the vulnerable plugins that it finds. And then we can do a -EVT. That will show us the vulnerable themes. And then we can do a -TT. This will show us if there are any Tim Thumbs. Now, the Tim Thumbs was a plugin that was used to be able to resize images on a WordPress site, but the whole thing turned out to be so vulnerable that the developer just said, okay, I quit. So if you have any Tim Thumbs on the site, that's a bad thing. So you don't want any of them there, okay? And it shows no Tim Thumb files found. You can also see if there are any users on the site, if it will enumerate them, and we did not enumerate any usernames there, so that's good. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very easy to use, very nice utility. So I highly recommend it. Yeah, so you have a couple of different options here. If you're a Windows user and you want to be able to do the scans from your Windows desktop and you want some sort of a nice graphical utility to do it, then yeah, the Netsparker is a good application, as long as you don't mind paying for it. But if you want to just go free open source, you don't mind getting your hands dirty with a little bit of Linux, then you can install the Parrot Linux. You can install it on a physical machine if you want to, on bare metal. But if you want to run it from your desktop system, whether it be Windows, Linux, or Mac, then you can just set it up in a virtual machine and use it to perform your scans that way. Use that WPScan utility, and there are a lot of other utilities in there as well, but the WPScan is specifically for WordPress. So if you want to scan to WordPress, yeah, WPScan, great utility. So anyway, that's pretty much it. If you like the videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, in the description below, you will see a link to my Begin Linux bookstore, which is an Amazon affiliate bookstore. So if you need any books on IT type topics, then be sure to click on the link and it will help me out. So anyway, that's pretty much it for now, I do believe. So we'll see you later and have a great day.